Greetings and salutations, one and all. I'm Andrew.
And I'm Kelly.
And we are the Video Game Fashion Police. We're going to take a look at a video game character's outfit, accessories, and overall sense of fashion.
And judge them.
Today, we will be looking at 2B from Nier Automata. 2B is the Yorha No. 2 Type B battle android, charged with fighting off the living machines who have infested Earth so that we can reclaim our home, we being humans who have been banished to the far side of the moon. Or have we? You'll have to play the game. None of the plot is important because today we're just going to be talking about 2B and what she's wearing.
Or not to know.
So, Kelly, tell us about 2B's outfit.
Well, fantastic. Well, 2B is, in looking at her, you would definitely not think that she's a warrior, due to the fact that she has over-the-knee spike heels and thigh-high stockings that go above that. She is wearing a bodice. Well, actually, it's more of like a unitard, a leotard. A bodysuit that is one piece on top, and a wraparound skirt. I will say it's a bit good for the utilitarian of kicking, arse, and the fact that the skirt does slit all the way up, so if you need to do a kick to the face, very easy kick to the face. She has long sleeves for the elements, which I think is very smart, and gloves that go up so she doesn't leave any fingerprints when she kills people. I don't think that she has fingerprints.
Well, an android, she may not. Hard to say,
it just depends
really.
on how she was built. But, she's not hurting her hands wielding large weapons, no blisters or anything like that. And then, of course, every warrior needs a blindfold so that, you can't see those who you are hurting.
Now, in the lore of the game, the blindfold is actually a tactical visor, so she can see.
So it's like one of those when you're watching a movie and then they go into the robot and they see like heat sensors or something like that.
She has an entire heads-up display on the inside of her blindfold. It's a tactical visor of some sort.
So what I will say, just in a very general sense, is she's not dressed for kicking butt. Even though there are things which do, in my opinion, assist really well. Like the spike of her heel is gonna hurt. However, she better be getting them in the first kick. Else, there's not a lot of running. That's gonna hurt, in my opinion. She's wearing a bodysuit, which I think is fantastically practical. Because then it's like, the underwear is built in. You're not gonna ever get any sort of there's not gonna be wardrobe malfunction. She's completely covered. And then if she needs to go into a fancy place, she wraps on a skirt, which is fine. As far as fashion goes, though, so her practicality of the outfit, whatevs, she is on point with fashion. I think this is the first one, from her hair to the lace work on her bodice and the neckline. I actually, in my head, I'm like, can I make this? I really want to wear this.
This is
something,
unsurprisingly, is a very popular cosplay choice.
I can imagine. I mean, the open back. She's not going to get hot. It looks like a very loose, very breathable fabric. Her haircut is great in the fact that it's never going to go. She can kick some butt and then just kind of go like this and it's back. It's great. The one thing that we did discuss, my brother and I, is just in the rendering, and the fact that she has this beautiful bodice, up top with the lace and the collar and the awesome arms that feather out in her her gloves, and then just the kind of leotard bottom. You don't exactly know how or where the skirt comes into play. It's not well.
Yeah. When I played the game, I did not realize she was wearing a wraparound skirt. Yeah. I thought she was wearing a dress, and she's not. As you pointed out, she's wearing a bodysuit of some sort. The upper bodice and sleeves are built into the leotard bottom with a wraparound skirt. But looking at the render, I can't see a seam
no
where
seam.
the skirt
there's
is.
No seam. And it was funny because so when we were looking at pictures, the first thing that I asked, because I saw the not thigh is here. I saw the hip high slit in her dress from the cover art is the one that I originally looked at from the cover art, and I thought, what does she have under that? And he told me she's wearing white underwear, and I was really upset at her at first because I thought, you do not wear white underwear when you have all black clothing. And then he went on to explain that it wasn't technically white underwear, it was the bottom of her bodice, and I thought, wow, that's really, very interesting. It was very 80s leotard, too. The ones that went over the hip bones, the really high. It's very 80s.
Her leotard bottoms are cut very high.
Very
over
high,
her hips.
which is a very, 80s and I guess 90s cut. We don't have a lot of those kind of cuts anymore.
Not typically, but I suppose if your wraparound skirt slits up one side to the hip,
hip bone, then that's exactly
choice,
what you. Yeah, no, it's a great choice, and I like the and other than that, she's not really She could almost be hearkening like old Victorian with like the lace and the collar, but everything else is very not from a specific. I'm sure that the animators, did research as to I'm going to steal from this, and this. But it is very interesting to see how, because upon first glance you would think kind of Victorian, you would think kind of back then, but she's not wearing a corset. It's not a corset. There's no whaleboning. There's no cinching. It's just, a 90s leotard with,
it's possible that the shoulders and sleeves, the whole upper piece, is actually not part of the leotard. It's a part that slips on over it. It's possible the white and the black part on her bust is the leotard, and that the shoulders and sleeves are a slip-on that goes over. Again, I can't see a seam.
It's almost like a shrug, only a full shrug.
Exactly.
Or what men wear, a dickie. This is a female dickie. That's
There
hilarious.
you go.
It very well could.
Now you mentioned practicality earlier.
Yeah. Well, she's a warrior. She's saving us from the moon.
That's right. So they deploy her to what remains of Earth to wander around the wasteland and kick the crap out of the cute little living machines that are now living there.
Right. Well, she's not wearing the right shoes for roaming anywhere.
That's true, because the main part of the game takes place in a ruined city that nature has for the past couple hundred years been reclaiming. So there's a lot of all the concrete is broken, and next to it is a large expanse of sandy desert that she's constantly running through in those heels.
Yeah.
There are several areas in the game that are kind of factory places with a bunch of metal
like the
catwalks,
grading
graded catwalks that she's running across on these heels.
No, she isn't.
I might balk at that, but on the other hand, she is an android, so if anyone can pull off running across graded metal or sand in heels, I imagine it's an android.
But my question is, she doesn't seem to have a bag or a purse. What is her reasoning for taking on and off the skirt? What are the moments? And what does she do? So what is she up to?
When does the skirt come off?
Yes.
She has the ability to overload her internal reactor and cause a screen-wide explosion to damage all of the enemies around her. So it's a smart bomb.
Sure.
So if you're surrounded, last-ditch effort, you can sacrifice a bunch of your health to explode and take out all of the enemies around you. And this has the result of blowing her wraparound skirt clean off.
Oh, so then she just has to go and, purchase a new one or get a new one. Okay. Well, that makes sense.
So if you want to stare at her shapely bottom, and there's no nearby ladder to climb up where you can angle the camera down and stare straight up, and you have enough health, you can just blow her up, and that will take her skirt off, and she'll run around with her butt out. I, of course, like the color scheme.
Oh.
I think that's a good choice. But what really sells this outfit for me is the details.
I knew you were gonna say that. Yeah.
Because they could have just put her in a black dress and boots and called it a day. But the more you look at it, the more little details you notice from the stitching, the pattern along the pleat of her skirt,
the edging on the skirt,
the edging on the skirt, the fact that they gave her stockings underneath her boots, the fact that the detail on her gloves and the forearm piece and the feathered ruffles around the edge of the sleeve. And there's several
where like she has the poof here, and then it's and then so it's actually tightened, and there's a lot going on in her sleeve, and especially the back. The back is just
the
gorgeous.
open back with the design along the edges, and the same there's a cleavage window, but most of it is covered up with some type of pattern design, meshed, which is really lace, which is really neat. Her blindfold is odd. All the androids wear blindfolds, which is kind of weird, but it does kind of help tie the entire aesthetic together, along with a very simple black hairband. I do like the fact that her hair isn't modeled completely perfectly, like a helmet of hair.
It looks like real hair. Like
it looks great, but it does look like she's been outside and she's been in a breeze for a little bit.
I love it.
And she's had to go.
Yeah, but it looks great. I think a lot of time and thought was put into her all over look, because it is unbelievable. Of all of the fashion police that we've done, I think 3 or 4, however many we've done.
2.
Really?
Yes.
Those are the only 2?
This is only number 3, yeah.
I always thought we did another. She's very cohesive.
Yes.
She has a top to bottom look. There's not really anything you can say to look at her and say, why did she put that on? Or why, you know what she really needs to do is she really should have some stockings. That's too much leg. Or they thought of everything. They thought of okay, she needs to have a bodice underneath. She has the bodice. She needs to have a, underwear for this big slit. Because gamers are going to look for what's underneath. Oh, yeah. She's got to have...
Well, she's also constantly jumping and twirling and flipping and doing high kicks. So.
No, sure. So there's that. It's unbelievable how really very well together she was thought out. I can understand why people are doing cosplay, and then the detail. This was something that was definitely not at all overlooked. In fact, methinks that perhaps they spent way too much time with her. That when they got to Mr. Secondary Character on the box art, they were like, just put him in some cargo shorts from Target.
Yeah. Just put him in short pants. He's fine. Now, he is a bit of a dorky stick in the mud, so it kind of works for his character that he's in boy shorts. But looking at 2B, not realizing she's a battle android, trying to clear the living machines off the Earth so we don't have to live on the moon anymore.
It's cold there.
What does her outfit say about her and where she's going today?
Oh, she definitely looks like someone that you don't want to muck with. She looks very badass, if you will. If she's walking down the street, I'm gonna know everyone. She's very noticeable.
Admire, but don't approach.
Yeah, exactly. She definitely looks like that. The blindfold helps, but it's like, don't talk to me. I don't even see you. It's very bitchy, sort of like, you're not even in my... But she's obviously going, her... It's not an accidental dress. As in, there is a destination. Whether or not you know what that destination is, or whether or not, this was not someone who woke up in the morning and was like, I just need to get to work, so I'm going to put on some pants and some shoes and, brush my teeth and go. Considered. This was a very, although I also kind of see it as in, she has, the cartoon closet. Is it this black dress or this black dress?
They're all the same dress. Yeah.
They're all the same dress. But it's definitely, it's not clothes. Mm-hmm. It's an outfit.
There you go.
So it's rare that you actually see outfits anymore, because we have become quite lazy as a society. Mm-hmm. I myself as well. But people don't wear outfits. People wear clothes. There's nothing wrong with clothes, but when it comes to fashion, clothes aren't fashion. Outfits are fashion. And so she is wearing an outfit, which means that she is better than you.
I was actually just imagining her walking down the street either with a white cane with the red tip or with a guide dog.
I was totally gonna say she has a dog. It's
Definitely
like a little
dog.
Bichon Frise.
There you go. Okay. So finally,
Yes.
to be or not to be?
That is the question. To be.
To be.
To be.
I agree.
Yes.
And so ends another episode of Video Game Fashion Police. We do so hope you enjoyed it. Until then, I'm Andrew.
And I'm Kelly.
And from us to you,
Just don't dress like an asshole.